Tell us when.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I know you've collaborated with an artist like Ozone Motley was here last night. I know that's something that you like. I feel like all your friends, Donovan, like
Azure hit me up from Ozone. He said, "Oh, you here? Come sit in." I was like, "Oh, good." We played the Coach House in San Juan, but Donovan. Actually, I don't know if you know, but Donovan and I and Cisco Adler from the band Swayze, and he's like a great producer. He and the three of us have started a new project called Jamtown.
Oh.
And so we've got an EP coming out this spring, later in the spring, April or May. And then our first show was in Malibu at the Malibu Guitar Fest, and then the
Malibu
next
Guitar Fest. That sounds rad.
That sounds fun.
I want to go to that. Yeah.
May 20th.
Okay.
And then we're playing the Hollywood Bowl with Jack Johnson, July 16th.
Okay.
So this thing is just heating up, and it's just really exciting. Actually, Donovan and I have been talking about making a barbecue record, just something real kickback, acoustic versions of some of our older tunes and maybe write one or two. But what happened was we went in, actually after the Kaboo Fest last fall, went into the studio, and over the course of September and October, November, we made 10 amazing original tunes, and we just signed with Red Light Management, which is like a big management company, and
We love our Red Light peeps.
it's like, things are happening like really quickly. It's really kind of an exciting time. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, we love Donovan too.
Jamtown.
He usually does 2 nights here.
Yeah.
He's a good hang.
So does Cisco? He produces and does he plays in the band too? Like
Yeah, he produces and he writes. Him and I have been writing for a while now. Like he and I wrote the song "Just Fine," which was a single on our "Fixin' to Die" record 3 records ago, and we've continued to write. And then this one. It's just funny how things work out, because sometimes the best stuff happens. Sometimes the best stuff happens when you don't really try.
Yeah.
But that being said, I'm always plugging away at stuff. Whenever I'm off the road, I'm generally trying to go do songwriting sessions or.
Are you part of a group, like a songwriting group at all, or no?
But just I have guys like Cisco that I go write with. If it's an excuse to get out to California, and I can do some surfing and songwriting, and so you're just continuously plugging away at these things, and you got your main tours and all the main stuff you're doing with your music, but you have to just keep continuing. It's like I always tell my son, who's in 10th grade now, you gotta you're in grammar school and high school, and your teacher's extra credit, and you're like, hell no, I'm not doing that shit. But then when you get out in the real life, you realize the extra credit, these are the things that no one tells you what to do.
Yes.
That you discover that you can make time to do. These are the things and the only things that get you ahead.
Yeah,
So,
our side hustle.
your
That's
side
what the kids
hustle.
are.
Your
Yeah.
side hustle.
And now I feel
hustle.
like our life is becoming so that side hustles are almost kind of generating more income and more anything that I have a million side hustles going on, and that's
this,
what's
I'm sure this is one of them, right?
this
podcast.
exactly, and we're hoping that I think podcasts are a side hustle, but then for some they're becoming the main thing.
Yeah, like Tim Ferriss, who's got the biggest podcast, and I'm a big fan of his podcast. He had his books, the 4-Hour Body, 4-Hour Work Week, and then he started the podcast as a side hustle. Now he's the most downloaded, podcast, and I'm sure he pulls millions and millions of dollars out of it.
I know.
every year.
To make it even
That
more,
was the side hustle.
Yeah.
well, to
do
make
that?
it even more meta, there's a podcast called the Side Hustle Podcast,
Oh, word.
which is really interesting because it's all about woman makes $70,000 a year walking German shepherds only. It's really cool. So I love
wow.
hearing about all that other stuff, which is why I'm you got your sauce, your hot sauce.
Yeah.
I really would one day envision a menswear. I'd buy it, even though I'm a female.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Because I feel I don't know, your style is so cool, and it's
thank you.
California mixed with I don't know. I love it.
Donnie, he's got his side hustle too. He's got the barn over there in Hawaii, right?
Yeah,
And they've
these
got
guys are killing
they got
it.
Nice hats and
Yeah.
crazy pants.
Actually, it's funny because they have the barn 808, and so the house we just bought in Cape Cod has a barn, and the area code's 508. So we might trying to like do something with those guys.
That sounds like a studio, man. A barn,
Barn
The
508.
right there out in the country.
Well, that was the other thing. Someone was like, dude, you should do like the Surf Shack sessions, kind of like Daryl's house.
Yeah,
But like
yeah,
do
yeah.
it down the
Exactly.
Cape, take people fishing and surfing. And
Oh, hell yeah.
That sounds like
Little meeting
retirement
thing.
right there. Boom.
Do you eat really healthy?
I do, yeah. I mean, I do, yeah, except late at night. Like,
Oh, yeah. I love the comfort, like melted cheese stuff or something.
I have like a serious like munchy it's like worse than the munchies. It's like severe munchy eating disorder. So like all day long, actually, I'm kind of on a diet. Like I don't really, I'm kind of on like the slow carb diet. So no carbs. Just like high protein. Like if you have like 30 grams of protein within a half hour of waking up. Mm-hmm. No carbs, no sugars. That's really can help you to cut 3 to 5% of your body fat right like that if you just stick on that.
And it probably makes you feel like less sluggish and just
And you just get on that right away. And then, but here's the problem is that late at night, I'm a different person and I have like cookies and chips. So like my thing is like, actually I when Kelsey, my girl, was pregnant, she was making like a batch of cookies every night.
Really?
And I was eating like the whole batch.
She's like, I just want one. I'm just craving one. And you're like,
and I'd be like, and once I have a couple hits off a joint, then I'm just like, I have no
I was going to say
self-control.
late night munchie sounds like there's like
It's
something
bad.
that's spawning it.
It's a tough thing, but my band is like, they're like, oh, here he goes. Like after the, because I don't know, you come off the stage, and like you burn a lot of calories, a lot of energy up there, and then it's just like, dude, come off stage, like, and I don't eat before I go on, so I'm famished.
Oh, yeah. Do you have
And
that
then it's
shaky
late
feeling?
night.
Yeah.
And then like melted cheese,
yes.
and like hummus, and like all this
So
cookies.
growing up, and you probably get this question all the time, but did you do the cheesesteak thing?
Well, now it's funny because, like, when you live in Philly, like,
Everyone's like,
you
"Pat,
don't
Regina."
want to have like it's not like you have cheesesteaks a lot, unless you're like in a studio, then you might have some cheesesteaks, but like actually that's not true. We would get hoagies for sure. We get hoagies a lot, but long story short is like once you move away from a place like Philly, then every time I come back now, I'm like, oh yeah, cheesesteak, hoagie. Like when I go to New Orleans, I'm like, I get like 3 oyster po' boys.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
But in Philly, like I grew up on Jim Steaks
Okay.
on
So it's
South
a,
Street. So I don't Pat, everyone's always like Pat's or Gina's, but really they're like really not very good.
boom. Thanks to our sponsor, Gino's. No.
Yeah, well, one of my sponsors is like Tony Luke's, so Tony Luke's is good.
Ooh, yeah. Do you have any favorite like countries that you tour? Have you toured like that?
We used to tour in Europe quite a lot, and in the 90s we would go there every year, and it got too expensive, so it got to be like, well, you want to tour Europe, how much money do you want to lose? So eventually, and meanwhile, our touring over here, which started as a grassroots thing and 3 guys in a van to 2 vans and then a tour bus we got into in 98. So we did like 4 or 5 years in a van and then graduated to tour bus. And then, so bottom line is we've continued to been able to make a great living in the U.S. and it just got to the point where you've realized, man, the world's so big. It's like this country's so big. I mean, I've played every little town and big city in this country like millions of times. And so long story short, like I just came back from Australia. We go to Japan. I try to get over Europe like once or twice a year, but like this year I don't think I'll get over there.
I could see the Amsterdam folks like
Yeah,
eating
Amsterdam.
you up, yeah.
Well, like we won like the equivalent of a Grammy in Holland.
Oh, really?
So we had a big fan base with the Dutch, and Belgium was another strong market, and France and England and Germany. But I love it over there. It's just that. So long story short, we kind of turned our back on it, and Europe's funny because it's hard to be grassroots there.